Car's not putting out warm air in the wintertime, I'm going to help you out in this video. So here's the scenario. You go to work, it's about 7 degrees outside, and all the way to work, your car is blowing, you got the heater on, but it's maybe 50, 60 degree cool air coming in, and your temperature gauge is not coming up to normal operating range. Your temperature gauge is probably about a quarter of the way up. Most likely there's something wrong in your cooling system. Now it's usually 3 things. In this car, it's the thermostat, and I'll be replacing it here in a minute. You can follow along, just kind of see what a thermostat is, what it takes to change one. So it could be your heater core. The heater core could be blocked or clogged. That's going to put out cool air inside your car. You could be low on coolant, in which case all you need to do is add the proper coolant to your vehicle. Or most likely it's the thermostat. The thermostat spring is probably weak or it's stuck open. So coolant is constantly flowing, not allowing the engine to warm up. So let's follow along, we'll get this thermostat changed and get this car back on the road. Close view of the thermostat and housing. Now the hose is going to go on this end. There's going to be a clamp right here. It's held on by 2 bolts. On this side, you'll notice the thermostat, and you'll see an O-ring on here. Make sure that does not fall out. And right here is the bleed screw. So once you open up your cooling system, you're going to need to bleed out the air, and we're just going to turn this counterclockwise. Bleed out the air, and then we'll close it up. You don't want to just put this on and not bleed out the air in the system. Maybe you're wondering, where is that thermostat? Well, if you're looking at the front of the car, I've already taken off the engine cover. You're going to go over here to the passenger side. You'll see the coolant reservoir, and then right there, you're going to see that bleed screw that I was talking about in the new housing. There's the coolant hose and the clamp. So you can kind of see that orange corrosion. That's the part we're going to be replacing. This top bolt is real easy to get to, but you need to take the hose off first so you can get to the bottom bolt. So the first thing we're going to do is squeeze that clamp right here, slide it back, take that hose off. I have a catch pan and a bunch of cardboard under the car because you are going to lose about a half a gallon of coolant. And then we're going to take this top screw out. The bottom screw is right under there. And this whole housing and thermostat is going to come right out. A couple tools we're going to need to do all of this. And I'll put links in the description below. You can get all this off Amazon, have it show up at your doorstep. These are some long needle nose pliers, bent at the end. And you can easily get down in here. I don't even have to get my hands even close, because these are so long. You squeeze this together and then slide the spring back. Slid that spring clamp back about 3-4 inches, and now we should be able to wiggle that hose all the way off this way, and then we're just going to kind of prop it up right along here somewhere. Hose off, and it's propped up out of the way right here, and as you can see, the housing is still attached, and you will see the coolant dripping down into the catch pan. Now we just need to remove those 2 bolts on the housing. I'm going to use a long-handled ratchet and a 10mm short socket. As you can see, I've just about got the top bolt out. We'll go ahead and remove that and finish doing the bottom. So getting the top bolt out of this housing easy. Getting the bottom out is a little more difficult. It's basically only because you don't have much clearance. So what I wound up using, 10mm socket. This is like a extension, but it's for wrenches. And then I could slide this over it and turn it like this. So you either need like a low profile ratchet, or you kind of need a socket in between the short and the long, or you need a part like this. And I'll put a link in the description for this as well. You can get these at Harbor Freight too. But that's how I got out the bottom bolt. Bottom bolt in, and I'm just using the same tool here on the top. You just want these a little more than snug. You don't want to tighten them down too tight. The new housing and thermostat on, so now we need to reconnect this hose. You just want to make sure there's nothing on this hose or inside it. Just kind of clean it off a little bit. And then we're just going to slide it back on and slide on the hose clamp. Hose is back onto the housing. I've slid the spring clamp back up and over where it belongs. Now we need to start up the car, and you're going to want to turn on your heater. And now we're going to turn this bleed screw counterclockwise to bleed out all the air. Now you're just going to let that bleed until you don't see any air bubbles. You see how it's spitting? Leave that open until it stops spitting, and then close it up. Stop seeing air bubbles out of there. I closed up the bleed screw, and all I got to do is put on the engine cover. Now if it's cold outside, you want to take your car out for about a 20-minute drive. You want your heater on full blast. You want to look at your engine temperature. It should be at about the 9 o'clock position. Now when this wasn't working, it's at about the 7 o'clock position, where it's only about a quarter of the way up off of cold. It should be about 9 o'clock position. And if it is, you're good to go. Come back, let the car cool off, and check your antifreeze. You're probably going to have to add about a half a gallon. You can add distilled water, 50-50 antifreeze, however you need to do it. Want to make sure your antifreeze is back up to the correct level. And you can call this project complete. Hope you guys saved a lot of time and money by following my step-by-step video, and I thank you for watching.